We have a great speaker today. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker. Some of you have met her. Her name's Sherry Sutton. She's a great speaker. She's done some TEDx talks as well on YouTube, so you can see her information on there. She has a master's degree in executive MBA, studied marketing at Yale, and spent nearly 30 years working in strategic communication marketing for everyone from startups to multi-billion-dollar international conglomerates. So she has a great background. So I just want to introduce Sherry. She's going to have a great talk about the 5 no-cost business growth hacks that some of us could use in our small businesses and our professional lives as well.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think I met everybody. Okay. I hope you don't mind, I'm recording. Everything is content. Everything you do is content. Don't create something and then not use it, right? And don't watch it after you record it. Just post it. Like, who cares if you closed your eyes? Who cares if you said something dumb? Just post it. Because you're never going to go back and redo it. And so I'm always struggling. I'll tell you a little bit about my podcast later, but I'm always struggling to get content for my podcast. And so anywhere I go and speak, I always record myself, and then this will be a podcast. So you'll be able to check it out in a few weeks on YouTube. It'll be under Your Marketing Mentor. So thank you so much for the kind intro. Thanks so much for having me. So we talked about this a little bit in the introduction, but my name is Sherry Sutton. I am your marketing mentor. So I work with small business owners, mostly who are the face of their brand, which most small business owners are. And I help them figure out what they should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to marketing. Because a lot of us go, oh, well, I'll just start posting on social media and I'll get a ton of clients. Anybody done that? And it doesn't work, right? Or I'm going to spend $1 gazillion on Facebook ads, and then they don't work, right? And so I help you figure out what works and what doesn't work, both digitally and with traditional media, so that you have the most optimized overall marketing plan. Then I work with you to figure out, okay, well, how do I do all these things on my own? Or if I want to hire somebody, I help them to hire someone, or a lot of times, like if you already have someone, I train somebody who's already on your staff or something like that. Or sometimes I'll keep hanging out with you and we'll make content together once a month or so. So that's what I do. I'm a mom. This one's mine. These are my bonus kids. I've got 3 bonus kids. I've got a 7-year-old grandbaby who's like the best. Any grandparents in the room? It's the best. Yeah, right? Because you get to like hand them back. You get to spoil the crap out of them, let them stay up all night, yeah, and hand them back. So I'm a TEDx speaker. I'm a professional photographer, and I have 2 podcasts. One is called Your Marketing Mentor. This will be one of the podcasts on Your Marketing Mentor. That's where I share all sorts of advice on marketing. And then I also have a podcast called Heart of the Hustle, where I interview people and then give them a month's worth of content that they can use from it. So I'll talk about that later. So how many people feel like marketing's overwhelming? Like, right? Yeah. That's normal. And how many people feel like you're constantly inundated with marketing, right? Yeah. It's because in general, we see 10,000 marketing messages a day. Like, it's crazy how many marketing messages we see. And people have to see your stuff at least 7 times before they're even willing to consider buying from you, right? So, hey guys, we had some new people in there, if you're watching this on YouTube. They have to see you at least 7 times before they're even gonna consider buying. Not buy, but consider buying. And that data is old, right? Now they're saying it could be up to 30 times. Think about when somebody gives you an ad on social media and then you keep seeing it over and over and over again. It's usually because your phone's listening to you and you talk about going to Hawaii and now all of a sudden you have a gazillion ads about Hawaii, right? How many times do you need to see those ads before you actually buy something? A lot, right? And that they know that, right? And we are training marketers like me to say, I need to see these things over and over and over and over again. But as a marketer, that gets real hard, right? Because now we have to be everywhere doing everything all the time. And so the key to business success is consistency in everything you do, but especially in marketing. You can't, I mean, I have people who are like, well, I posted on Facebook a couple times, or I ran an ad like once, but I didn't get any business from it, so I didn't do it. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can have the best ad on the planet, but you're still gonna have to, people are gonna have to see it 7, 30, maybe even more times before they're willing to move. So you have to be consistent. But it can be overwhelming and expensive. So I wanted to spend some time today talking to you about no-cost ways that you can grow your business. So the first one is networking, and networking not in the normal way. So I'm going to teach you my way of networking that I find to be the most successful. So post on social media regularly. They're going to connect those two, point 1 and point 2, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Podcast guesting, so being a guest on podcasts. 4, making it easy to do business with you. This is one of the most common mistakes I see small businesses make, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And then Google My Business. Make sure you have a Google My Business listing. All right, ready to dive in? Okay, so my first tip is network like a boss. Networking like a boss means a couple things. 1, you only go to places where your prospective clients are, or people who are going to be prospective referral partners. Now, you can choose to go to other things so you get some camaraderie, right? Like I have other groups that I go to where I have camaraderie, right? I want to be able to, share ideas, those types of things. But the vast majority of the networking that you should be doing is with the exact audience that you want to be working with or who's going to refer you. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you sell baby blankets, right? You can go to, let's say, the Salina Chamber of Commerce, which I love. I'm friends with the woman, Alexis, who runs it. You can go to the chamber, but what are the chances that you're going to find moms at the exact right time in their lives where they would need a baby blanket? Probably fairly slim, right? It might happen, might not. You might find some people who refer you, and that would be great. But what if you went to new mom networking groups, right? Or maybe set up partnership with lactation consultants, right? Get in front of the audience that is going to buy from you. And there's lots of groups, there's all different types of groups, right? But these generic groups can sometimes be great, but those are often not where our target audience is. And so you can kind of waste your time and your money. The other example I'll give is make sure you're hanging out with the people who are going to refer you. So if you are primarily a referral-based business, you want to be in front of the people who are going to refer you. And adamantly don't allow you to go to anything where they're not there. So I'm going to give you an example. This is one of my favorite examples. So let's say you go to the dentist and they say you need a root canal. Anybody here had a root canal? No? All right. Well, let's say they say, all right, ready? I'm going to pick on you. You go to the dentist and they say you need a root canal. What do you do? What do you say? You have now been given the job of finding someone to do your root canal because the dentist doesn't do it, right? They're like, you have to find an endodontist to do it. What do you do? Now you have to find an endodontist. Yeah, you're going to ask for a referral. I mean, you might Google, you're not going to go on Facebook. I mean, you might, but your tooth hurts, right? And you need to get it done. And so you're going to ask for a referral. Then you'll probably go to Google, right, to look them up, see if their reviews are good, see where they are, right? But for the most part, you're going to ask for referrals. So if I were doing a marketing plan for an endodontist, I would say all your business comes from from general dentists, right? Yeah, you can go to the Chamber of Commerce, you can go to B&I, you can go to whatever, but the people who are really referring you are dentists. So where can you go where dentists hang out so that you can suck up to dentists and get them to refer you, right? Everything you do should only be focusing on dentists. Now, you can do some other things, but you have to understand they're for social reasons, or, just for business growth, like for personal growth reasons, and maybe not because that's where you're going to get your clients. And this is always a hard thing for people because they don't want to, they want to they're like, but I can go anywhere. I should go to all these other places, right? It's so much better to be really targeted. So prioritize places where your clients or your referrers hang out. The second thing is don't be a weirdo, right? Connect first, sell second. Have you ever, we've all been to those meetings, right? Where there's that person, right? Who's like, hi, my name is Sherry. I'm this, can I set up a time with you to show you my vitamins or whatever. I like picking on people who sell vitamins, right? We've all met those people. You know who they are, right? Don't be that person, right? Connect as a human being first. People buy from people. And even better, imperfect people buy from imperfect people. So just be you, compliment someone's shoes, talk to them about their kids, right? Don't be that person who's like, that old school, 80s version of networking. The next thing is have a Calendly link where people can sign up to have virtual coffee with you. I know a lot of us like to have in-person coffee, but not everybody can do that. And especially if you are someone who sells to a busy audience, they don't have time to go meet with you in person or a referral source, right? Go back to the endodontist, right? Those general dentists, they don't have time. If they have a good business that they're going to refer you, they don't have time, right? They might have 15 minutes to have a quick coffee with you from their office. So don't be afraid to use Zoom and virtual coffee chats. Sometimes we wait so long because we want to have an in-person, because we want it to be a really good relationship, that we miss the opportunity. And also make sure that you have some sort of a calendar link that you can send someone so that they can set it up on their own. And sometimes we feel like this is pushy, but honestly, it's way better because you're acknowledging that they have a busy schedule too, and you say, hey, let's connect. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. I know we're both busy. Let's try to maybe do something on Zoom. Here's a link where you can set up a time that works best for you. And they're like, oh, thank you, right? You get me, you get my world, right? And if there's somebody who's not busy enough to be able to go back and forth about time and when can we meet, when can't we, they probably don't have enough money to buy whatever you're selling anyway, right? All right, so the next thing is have a business card, but have it with a QR code. So sometimes people have those digital business cards, but I was at a networking event recently and someone said to me, hey, here I only have my digital business card. And I was like, well, that's great, but my phone is in my purse, on the other side of the networking event. So I go back, I get my purse, and by the time I get back, he's in another conversation or has left or whatever. So you want to have paper and a QR code. Full disclosure, I do not have a QR code on my cards, so I need to print new ones. As I was doing this today, I was like, you know what? I'm not practicing what I preach, so I will call myself out on that. But then I want you to connect with everyone you meet, either on LinkedIn or on Facebook. Pick the one that is best for your audience. And if you don't know, I actually have a podcast. It's under the Your Marketing Mentor on YouTube. And I should have grabbed the QR code for it, and I apologize I didn't. But it talks about which social media platform is best for you. And go on that and you'll know where do your clients or your referrers hang out, right? Is it LinkedIn or is it Facebook? And the reason why I focus on those are the two platforms where there's the most communication back and forth, right? Where people go to connect, chat, there's groups, there's newsletters, there's lives, right? Where Instagram is and TikTok are a little more, people just absorb that information. They don't really connect, right? And they don't really talk back and forth. So go and friend people on whether it's LinkedIn or whether it's Facebook. Now, if you're talking to a under 30 audience, this probably won't work. But for most of us will talk. Then we're talking TikTok. But that's a whole other story segment for another day. But connect with them on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Then I want you to send them a little introductory direct message. And it's just going to say, don't be a spammy weirdo, It's just going to say, hey, it was great to see you at the blah, blah, blah. Would love to get to know you a little better. Here's a little bit about me. I'm a mom. I live in Frisco. I live in Salina. Whatever, right? I am an avid snowboarder, whatever the things are about you, right? Or I've been in the HBA for about 6 months. How did you hear about it, right? Something that's a little bit more personal. Then you can say on the work front, here's a little bit about what I do. Don't sell, just inform, right? And that will get the algorithm starting to realize, okay, you guys are friends. Then go over to their page and like at least 5 of their posts and comment on them. Now, the algorithm is going to go, ooh, these 2 people are friends, okay? And then we're going to get to the next tip. But the great thing about Facebook and LinkedIn in particular is they're places where people expect to connect. And if you then take my next tip seriously, people will start seeing you more consistently, right? So I'll probably friend a lot of you after this. Hopefully I'll get a list of all of your names, right? I'll friend you after this. I'll stay in touch with you because I post so regularly that you'll start seeing me more and more and more. And what happens when you do that, now you don't have to go back to those networking groups every single week, right? You are getting in front of people, utilizing your social media, but they met you first in person. And this combination of in-person networking and social media is really, really powerful. And that could be a whole other discussion for another day. But that's something that I really want you to think about is don't just go to something and leave, right? Go to something and connect with them in a place where you can stay in touch with them, and social media is the best place to do that. Social media is not a great place to just find new customers. So going on social media, posting something and running isn't gonna work unless you're doing paid ads. So you have to do it, and it has to be done through your personal Facebook or your personal LinkedIn page. Okay, so then now the algorithm is like, okay, these 2 people are friends. Now you want to be starting to post regularly because you want to take advantage of that algorithm going, okay, you guys are friends now, right? So you need to be posting really, really regularly. And I'm not going to have time to go into all of how do you create an amazing social media presence. That's a whole presentation for another day. But I'm going to give you a couple quick tips. At least 3 days a week, if not more. Now, that doesn't have to be like really robust, like advice type stuff. It can be 30% of your posts, I like to say, are personality focused. I used to say personal, and it freaked people out because they're like, I don't want to have to show a picture of my ingrown toenail. Like no one wants a picture of your ingrown toenail, right? So it's personality focused. A great way to do this is, I want everybody to take their phones out, take a picture with your neighbor. I'm serious. Right now. So take a picture with your neighbor, or just take a picture of like the whole group, or take a picture of me. Okay. Then you're going to post that on LinkedIn or Facebook, whichever is your place of choice. And you're going to tag all of the people who are in your picture. Okay? That took 3 minutes. You're here anyway, right? You may as well take a picture. It took 3 minutes, and now you've got a post done. Boom. Right? 1 out of 3 posts done. And it shows your personality, because like I was just watching you, like right? So it shows a little bit of personality. It shows that you are a mover and shaker in your industry, right? It shows that you have friends who are also who are also business owners, right? It elevates your status in their minds, and all you did was take a selfie and tag people. Now you want to tag them because then it shows up on their feed too. Yeah, question.
So we have a business and a breakfast page. Where would we?
Everything needs to be done through your personal page. So this is a really interesting piece of this strategy that a lot of people like feel a little odd about, especially if you're a Gen Xer or a boomer, right? I'm a Gen Xer, and we were taught that business life is over here and personal life is over here, and there's this giant wall in between, and they shouldn't, like, right? You keep your work stuff at work, you keep your personal stuff personal, right? He's like, yup. And I get that. But as the face of your brand, you are the person that people want to buy from. You are the one that people are connecting with. And if you want this strategy to work, you can't do it through your business page because it won't let you, just technologically, it won't let you tag individuals. So you need to be connecting with people through your personal LinkedIn or your personal Facebook. Now, that means that your personal Facebook might not just be for Aunt Sally, right? And Aunt Sally might get pissed because she's like, why are you talking about work all the time? Does somebody have an Aunt Sally? Why are you talking about work all the time? Like, I just want to see pictures of my nieces and nephews. Okay, fine. But I can promise you from a business perspective, it's more important that you're connected with all these people and they see what you're doing than Aunt Sally. You can set up a different, chat room with Aunt Sally, or a DM list with Aunt Sally and all the family if you want. But it's one of the most powerful ways to get in front of people. Your Facebook business page and LinkedIn aren't going to do anything for your business. That is a broad statement, and it's meant to be not completely true, but it's meant to be a little. The only way that your Facebook business page or your LinkedIn business page is going to show is if you pay for ads. So if you're just posting on your business page, you're not getting any business. That's why, because nobody's seeing it. Here's why. Yeah, here's why.
If you have a popular account, you have a really big account.
Sometimes, but you know what? Here's the thing, is Facebook business pages, they are always changing the algorithm for those because they're like, they don't want you to leave Facebook. So sometimes, yeah, it can be popular. It's a rarity. And it's generally because you had an audience before, usually like right at the beginning of COVID, but before the last couple years, right? So, and sometimes this isn't 100% rule, but 99% of the people that I've worked with struggle with getting their business page out, right? So here's the reason why. Facebook is a for-profit business, and they make money not from users, right? We all get to be on Facebook for free, but they make their money by advertising. So they want people to stay on Facebook longer so that they can show more ads. And if you, in your business, we're all going to send them off of Facebook, right? Because we want them to buy or whatever, or schedule or whatever, right? We're always, or for the most part, going to send people off of Facebook. And they don't want that, because now they can't get any more advertising dollars. So the businesses that do well are the ones who are selling, like right within Facebook, right? Some e-commerce stores, if they're integrated, or if you're paying for ads, then that can be a really powerful combination. But a lot of this needs to be done on your personal page. So how does that make you feel?
Do you tag your business?
I don't even want you to have a discussion with my wife because I keep my stuff separate. Because,
Yeah.
I allow people into my life and share those personal images, but if it's all I see is just business, I won't let you into our friends.
Yeah.
Now, it's a different story if I'm sending you a friend request.
It says that on your profile too, that comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to see personal pictures before I let you in, because all I see is selling homes and now quite
Yeah. And that, and you don't have to do any of what I'm saying, but I can tell you it works. Now, go back 5 minutes to when you took pictures. Do you count a selfie with this group? Hey, here I am with blah, 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 blah. Do you count that as a personal picture?
I would, but and she shares it, and then I have no picture to share.
The challenges of working with your spouse. They steal all your content.
pictures.
No, but here's the thing. You tag him, it's going to show up in his feed anyway.
Does tag me, yeah.
Yeah. So you got the content and you didn't have to do any work. You have her trained brilliantly. There you go. Right? Yeah. So there is this, and goes back to this, 30% personality. Because exactly that, right? We don't want people who are like, buy my vitamins, right? Buy my whatever. We want people who are real people. And so it's got to be personality focused. Now, you can get a double, a two-header if you like take pictures while you're at this thing, because then it's personal and business, right? But yeah, post pictures of you doing whatever, right? Here I am at this, here I am at that, here I am with this person, here I am out hiking with my kids, here's some pictures of Mother's Day. And you don't have to share anything you don't want to, right? Some people, there's some personal stuff they don't want to share. That's cool. You don't have to, but you just have to show who you are as a person, right? So the next 30% of your posts should be advice-focused posts. So you need to get radically intimate with what your clients are struggling with, that they know they're struggling with. So sometimes we think, well, if they just do this, then their life's going to get better, but they don't know that they need to do that. And so they're not going to click on something, right? No one's going to click on something that says like, you need a root canal where we're going to completely dig into your mouth for 2 hours and, right? They're going to be like, do you have tooth pain? So talk to them where they are and give them a little bit of advice on how to solve it. If you see a lot of my content, that's the case. Like this video, there's no selling in it. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it's meant to be advice only, right? I'm not getting any, I'm not paid to be here. And that's cool, right? You want to be seen as a leader in your industry. And the best way to do that is not to say that you're a leader in the industry, but to talk about the things that people are struggling with, right? How do you buy a home, right? What are mortgage rates? I don't know, whatever that might be. All right, and then another 30% are still advice posts, but in these posts you're allowed to like do a little promo at the end. We don't want to do all of them promo, right? Because we don't want you to be that vitamin selling weirdo, right? We want you to, but in these you can be like, hey, here's a little advice on how to do this. If you want to hang out with me, if you want a free consult, head over to my website or DM me for details or something like that. Now, most of these platforms, LinkedIn's better about this, but they don't really like you putting links in your posts. So you kind of just have to say like DM me or, reach out, or don't put your phone number, don't put a link, don't put your email, because they often can't click on it and the algorithm hates it. It makes it real hard. You got to get kind of creative, right? But you can be like, what I'll do, like for this one, I'll chop this podcast into reels. They'll go on my social media here as advice and promotion posts. So we'll take a little clip of what I said. Then I'll say underneath, to watch the full episode, go to my YouTube channel. And I can't put a link, because if I do, the algorithm will kill it. So. All right, and then 10% you can promote. That's buy my vitamins.
When you said the algorithm kills it, does it let you post it?
It'll let you post it.
But it's just that.
Nobody will see it.
Users.
Yeah. And especially on LinkedIn, especially on Instagram, if you're doing Instagram, I'm just sort of picking on LinkedIn and Facebook for the purposes of this meeting. But Instagram, people put links in their Instagram posts all the time, or phone number, and you can't they're not hot linked. So you can't, people aren't going to, copy and paste the whole, it just doesn't work, right? So it makes you look a little.
You could do it on the story, though.
You can do it in a story. And so they've allowed us, thank you for that. They've allowed us to have stories where we can link to things. So selling in stories is a whole other amazing strategy. Yeah.
We just opened up a very deep tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Head over to link in bio. You can do on LinkedIn or on Instagram. And
Linked bio is relevant too. So what we started saying is link in bio.
Oh.
People get comments because they're like, you spelled that wrong. Cheers.
Right. I like that. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah, you got to get creative, right? All right. So here's a couple resources for you guys around these topics. So The first one is, should you outsource your social media? Because you might be right now saying like, oh, this sounds like a lot of work and I don't like it. This is a podcast that helps you know whether or not you should or shouldn't outsource your social media. Sometimes we want to outsource instantly because it's just new and we're a little scared and we don't know how to do it. And it's like, it feels overwhelming, but as the face of your brand, a lot of times it doesn't make sense to outsource all of your social media because you still need to be the face of your brand. So you still need to be creating the content, right? So that's a podcast for that. And then I have another podcast with 5 business growth hacks using social media. So if you guys want to check those out, you are welcome to. So I want to spend a minute talking about my podcast called Heart of the Hustle. And the reason why is because if you become a guest on the show, you get a month's worth of content. So there are places where you can find like these kind of packages of content. And this is one really nice way where you'll get like 10 reels, a couple quote graphics, you'll get the full interview. I promote you in lots of places, but it's a nice way to get social media content easily. So if you're interested in learning more about that. All right, tip number 3. If you don't want to be on a podcast where you have to pay in order to get social media content, you can be on a lot. Most podcasts are free. Mine's designed as a content creation vehicle. But a lot of podcasts just have guests for free, right? You don't have to pay anything. And so it's a great way to get your message out within your target audience, right? So make sure you ask for a copy of the episode afterwards so you could use it for social. That's one of the biggest challenges. A lot of these smaller podcasts especially don't know how to give you the episode, and so you won't get it. And so if you really want to do this well, you always want to get that copy back. And there's a couple different places where you can find podcast placements. So the first one is a website called matchmaker.fm. Used to be free. I'm so bummed. I just logged on the other day and now they charge you, but they will match you with hosts. The other one is podmatch.com. That's a very good one. And then the other one is Facebook groups. There are a ton of Facebook groups that are like find a guest, be a guest. There's one that's really good. It's like podcast, find a guest, be a guest. It's got like 80,000 people in it or something. And you can just post on there like, be a guest. You can put a little bit of a bio, right? A fun picture. Right? But being on those podcasts is a great way, one, to get used to speaking publicly. So if that's something that you want to do, speak more, is being on a podcast is great practice for you to do that. It's a great way to test a message, especially if you're going to do something more significant. When I did my TED Talk, I actually did a podcast series ahead of that, like a little road show where I went on a bunch of different podcasts talking about what I knew I was going to talk about in my TED Talk, which is just a very personal journey that I went through. And because it gave me a chance to talk about it, and kind of work out what I was comfortable talking about, what I wasn't comfortable talking about, get it out of my mouth without, being on the TED stage, which is a big, intimidating stage to be on. So that's a really good way to do it too. Anybody here ever been on a podcast? Yeah? What podcast were you on?
Organization I work for.
Okay.
Started a podcast like filmers.
Oh, good. Are you still doing it?
It was a short form. No, we did like 10 episodes.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
My husband and I were on one recently it's called Rooted in Retail.
Oh, cool.
Crystal Belkaitis is her name. She's a marketing.
Oh, that's cool.
She's on us speak, and she approached us about being on my podcast. It was great.
Yeah.
It was so nice to hear one. She sent us little clips that we could.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which video and voice. She's just so techy that she knows how to do all this.
Yeah.
So that's what was in a breath. We were able to
get
usable content.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's hard to find anybody who will do that for you. I charge for it, because I've got a really high-end studio and all that stuff. So it's designed to be.
To be on the podcast, so
Yeah.
it was kind of a.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Good. So, on the topic of starting a podcast for your business, if you've ever thought about whether or not it makes sense for you, has anybody thought about starting their own podcast? Yeah.
So what difference is I'm not a small business owner, so I work for an organization.
Yeah.
But as an advocate in the community and things like that,
Yeah.
I think it's great to get the message out. Just afraid of a couple of things. One, compliance sticks with the company that I work for.
Yeah.
Two, who would I invite? And three, probably afraid of myself, what that would look like.
Yeah. It can be, the technology side can be a little overwhelming. I have a studio that I rent out where people can come and do their podcast. Like I just had somebody in today. She actually spent like 2 hours just doing like employee onboarding videos in the studio, right? To have them be real professional. So you can get help with it, or you can just do it on your own. There's all different ways. I'm putting together a training that'll happen probably towards the end of June, where I'm actually going to walk people through how to start their own podcast. And so if you're interested in that, get on my newsletter and I'll. But this is just a good way of knowing whether or not it makes sense for your business, or if it doesn't. Talks about the different types of formats that you can do. Having an interview podcast is so much easier because you just like talk. Most people are, if you're even anywhere near an extrovert, that tends to be a lot easier for people. Okay, the fourth tip is to make it be easy to do business with you. We talked earlier about having a Calendly link where people can sign up to have lunch with you or have coffee with you. That is a great way and a great example of making it easy to do business with you. So this is me posing for an ad for AT&T. Back when I was this age, my father worked for AT&T and was a telecom consultant. And I don't know how I ended up in one of their ads, but here I am. And this is still true today because I hate talking on the phone. So even as a Gen Xer, I'm very millennial in this way, in that I hate talking on the phone. And anyone really below the age of 40 hates talking on the phone. Who's here is below the age of 40 and probably doesn't really like, I want to research you, I want to go online, I want to find a way to fill out the form, right? I don't want to have to call you. I tell all my clients, make sure that you have all the information that people need somewhere online. Because anybody kind of really below the age of 40, they want to research you first. So make it easy to do business with you. Put pricing out there. Don't make them call you for pricing, right? You will lose them. You'll lose them. And I know this from, I had a wedding photography business for a number of years. So I was in corporate America, and then I became a wedding photographer, and now I do a lot of brand photography. Went back to corporate, now I do this. So when I was doing wedding photography, I just kind of knew, hey, to make it easy to do business with me, I'm just going to put my prices out there. Because also, selfishly, I don't want to get the phone calls. Hey, how much do you cost? How much do you cost? I don't want to field a bunch of calls from people who can't afford me. So I just put my pricing and my packages out there. I would say at least 50% of the people who came into my office said to me, the reason why we're meeting with you is because you had transparent pricing. We liked a lot of other people's work, but we wanted to work with you because we knew how much it was going to cost, and so we didn't have to call a bunch of people. We didn't want to call people and ask and leave a message, and they call back and call me back, and forget it. Just make it a bit visible. Now, if you can, right? There are some times you can't.
That's what I was going to say. If your tank is Mike, this is custom built in cabinetry.
Right.
You pay that kind of an average price.
Yeah, I would. So the question.
It depends on measurements.
Yeah. So we were talking about the question was about being a custom cabinet builder. How do you tell people how much it is? Because everything's custom. Here's what I would do is say prices generally range from $1,000 to $20,000. I mean, even if you just give them a range, because some people have no idea. I would have no idea how much it would cost. I really don't. I just don't know. Right? Do I have to have at least $10,000 to even start this project? Like just some. Then what I would do is here's some examples of things we've done and how much they cost. Because it just gives them a sense of like, oh, okay, yeah, I can afford this. Or, yeah, no. And it saves you from like the phone call and having to go out there. And at the same time, you get to show your work. Right? You get to be like, look at this beautiful thing I made. Oh yeah, and here's a testimonial about it. And go to my YouTube channel, check out the video of that with the testimonial from the client, right? And be super transparent about your pricing in it. And you could say subject to change depending on prices of wood and tariffs and whatever else is going on. That's okay. That's okay too, right? But just say that in general, this is what it is. But make it very easy to do business with you, right? Don't require a phone call. Have links on your website where people can set up time with you. And everyone, when I suggest that, everyone says, "Oh, but then I'm going to get all these randos who like want to have coffee with me." Like, honestly, not really. I mean, I market the crap out of my business. I do this all the time, right? And I have a rando maybe once a month, and they never show. Like I don't have some weirdo just wanting to like talk to me just to talk. It might happen, but all the people who are calling you and setting up coffee with you online who could be potential clients or potential referrer sources, it's worth it. It's worth it to have the 5 minutes of discomfort with some person who clearly is never gonna, has nothing to, just wanted to, I don't know what, sell you vitamins, right? So like on my website, you can set up coffee with me. And you can also set up a consult with me. It's open in my calendar. Now my calendar's locked down, right? It's blocked on certain days, and I don't let people I'm not gonna do it on Saturday at noon because I don't wanna work on Saturdays, right? So you can block off your calendar accordingly. It doesn't have to be everything all the time, right? You get to set those boundaries. The next little tip of no-cost marketing is Google My Business. And this is one thing that I see so many people not utilizing, because where do you go to look for information? Google. Everyone goes to Google first. There's still some other search engines that are trying to hang on, but really it's Google. So Google offers this. It's a free thing. You can set up a Google My Business account. And it's a great way to make sure that you are findable on Google. A lot of us hire agencies, spend a lot of money to try to be at the top of Google, but this is one way to always be kind of seen towards the top without having to spend money.
Do you find that, because Cheeks got me started on this, our new search engine is TikTok.
Yeah.
For me, vacations especially, I think that anything related to traveling,
Yeah.
Google is not even existent, search buttons now.
Yeah.
You just want to see the visual of what's that.
Yeah, and it varies. Certainly if you have that's true.
Listen.
I would still have a Google My Business, right? Because it's important. But absolutely, there's lots of other, TikTok is becoming a search engine. All the social media engines are their own, all the social media platforms are their own search engines. YouTube is an incredibly important search engine. You know the other one? Pinterest. Pinterest is the dark horse of social media, but is a very strong social media engine, especially for travel or like nails, or it depends on and I've got a lot of that in that podcast that I did about which search engine, which platform's right for you. So, but everybody should have a Google My Business listing. Now, people ask me, well, if I don't have a location, can I get Google My Business? You can. You can. And so you just Google how to do it, and it'll tell you. This I literally stole directly from Google when I Googled it. So have a Google My Business account. Just makes it easier for you to see. Make sure you upload pictures, right? Just because it helps people to know, especially if you're doing a personal brand, have pictures of yourself, right? I've got a couple different pictures. I've got my podcast. I've got one of my offers. I do have a physical office where I have my studio, but I've had a Google My Business even without it. The other thing with your Google My Business account is make sure you're getting referrals. Full disclosure, this was not part of my marketing strategy for a while, you have to pick and choose. And I'm part of that, right? You have to pick and choose what you're going to do. I have focused on social and speaking over the last few years, but I just was like, okay, now I've got a little more bandwidth, right? So every year or 6 months, you should be adding another type of marketing, right? You're like finding another layer. And so I've recently started really focusing on reviews. So like, I got 14. It's only been a week since I asked people to do it. So, but that's an important part of your business. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have waited this long. So I would say do reviews, build it into your process, right? So now it's built into my process. When people have coffee with me or whatever, they get an email asking, hey, can you do a Google review for me? So that's one place that I would say I highly recommend trying to get Google reviews. Because even if people find you, if you don't have any reviews, right? I have one client who she is a nursing school, and she's up in Little Elm. And I interviewed a couple of her students the other day to kind of, where did you find out about us, and all that. And they were all like, I heard about it through my college counselor, and then I looked it up on Google, and I saw the reviews, and I knew you were my person, right? So reviews are really, really powerful. So this is a recap. 5-way, no cost ways of growing your business. So there's network like a boss, post on social media regularly, be a guest on some podcasts, and make it easy to do business with you, and make sure you're on Google My Business. And if you guys, I'm going to leave this up here for you. It's a little free gift if you guys want a little guide on kind of the no stress marketing plan. This is a great way to do that. Who has questions? Anybody? Was this helpful? Was it not helpful? Or are you like, God, why did I come here today? Helpful?
Very, very helpful. Thank you for sharing all the tidbits with
Yeah.
us. We'd like to present you with a certificate of appreciation. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. What else do I have in here? And then if you want to, just kind of stalk me on my website.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Yeah.
We appreciate all the great information. A lot of us can take back and put it to work with our business or professional life as well. So thank you.